Today on Woodturning, we're making a gift for a friend from this beautiful piece of burl.
Tim's American Beauty was made by Robust Tools, America's premier lathe manufacturer. Quality hardened tool rests and live centers too. Robust. Built to turn wood. Enjoyed for a lifetime.
Easy Wood Tools, best in class carbide wood turning tools. I would love to tell you what burl we're working with today, but it says domestic wood on there, so this falls under the darn if I know category, I guess. It looks like red mallee burl from Australia, but we'll see once we get in there, and even then you can't quite tell. But what we're making today is a thank you gift for a gentleman in our German Shepherd friend club that we have. We walk every week and we get up to 30 dogs at one time. It's quite a sight. And Les has been part of the club since the beginning. He's done our website. He's a great ambassador with his dog Athena. And we wanted to say thank you for everything he's done for us. So we're going to make a plaque bowl. I don't know how you title this, but we're going to make a bottom of a bowl here. And then since this has this wing, I want to turn a bowl in here, leave this flat. And I have a cool toy in the house, a fiber laser, and then we went to laser in a nice little statement of thanks to him. So the first thing we need to do is get this ready to mount on the lathe. This is kind of a unique setup because I want to make a bowl big enough that we see the bowl and the wood grain, but at the same time leave room to laser. So I've set up my calipers and I'm trying to just find the right combination of space here between the sapwood and everything else. And while we're doing this, I do want to thank our sponsors, Robust Lathes and Easy Wood Tools, because without their help, none of this would be possible, and we really do appreciate them being part of us. They're very good companies, and we like the people too. So let's see how this looks right here. Okay. That's not bad, and you can see visually I've got room in here now to work. I'm thinking of actually putting a picture of Athena's face on here, his dog, and then have the statement below it. I like this working here. I can feel underneath here. It seems like I have enough depth and angle so I can swoop into here. Brian and I were talking off camera. We're going to leave this way. I think this is really cool. All we're going to do is wind up doing a recess in here so we can hold this on the lathe, and that'll also give it a flat bottom so when it sits, it'll be properly oriented. Now, that's the other problem, properly oriented. If you look at this, it's sloping, right? We don't want to waste this wing, so we have to drill a hole here to mount this on the lathe, but that hole has to be in such a way that this is as flat as possible and we maximize this top part without having to cut down too far. So what I built over here is this neat little jig. Remember this project? We were doing ink or printing on wood. So anyway, this is going to be my holder. I'm taking a chamois right here. I've got the drill bit that's the right size for my worm chuck, and now we're going to bring this in here, and I still left, I'm balancing this out, I left the little hole there. Let's see if I can mark that to where I can see it a little bit better. Oh, I had to drop it, didn't I? And it is right there. Nope. Hang on a second, I'll be back in a minute. Like I said, the hole's right here, and it's level too now. So my biggest problem is I've got low spots and high spots. So I got my low spots even, and that way I'm going to maximize how much wood I'm using. Let's see if I can reach under the camera and grab this. You probably should clamp this down, but this is a burl, so there's really no way to clamp it down. So let's just hope it doesn't spin out of control and make a really good viral video. Oh, thank goodness, we're good. Okay, so I'm mounting my worm screw inside my Easy Wood chuck. This is double-ended, so if you actually need a bigger screw for a larger piece, you turn it around and use the other side. So here we go. So go in the hole here. I'm going to use my hand wheel on the American Beauty. It's really kind of handy having that hand wheel over there because you can turn things like this really easily and not have to try to turn this. So that's really nice. The other issue is I've seen people turn their lathes on really slow and put stuff up to here and let it wind on. I'm not coordinated enough to do that. Now I'm going to take the headstock over here and you hear a click. There, locked in. So now this is locked in. I can use both hands now to tighten this on here. If I turn it the right way, it would tighten. There. Now we're good and secure. So what we want to do is cut in here and make a recess to to take the Easy Wood chuck and bring the jaws in here and expand it and hold it that way. So I think I'm there. I've been kind of futzing back and forth, moving the tool rest, checking where my center is. You got a lot of little knife blades rotating here, so you want to be really safe when you do this. I've moved my remote up to here so I have easier access to it, and then way down here I have this, which is an emergency stop. So if anything goes wrong, I just step on that with my foot and things are going good. Have my face mask. This just looks bad, but it's not. You do need enough speed though to get this going. And what I want to do is just make about a 2-inch area here where we're going to start making our recess. I'm going to have to pick this up until the lathe wobbles. See, feel that? We're out of, whoa. Oh, you can hear it now. Here, come back down. So it's going to be slow nibbling. So we just kind of come in here. I'm going to use a bowl gouge because I just want the minimum contact I can get right now. And it's very slow, so you got to take your time. Once I get this flattened out in about a 2-inch area, then we'll make the tenon shape. But right now we just want to clear out the wood and find some flat, solid wood to work with. So now I have my skew out, and I'm trying to flatten the bottom here and work my way into making the dovetail for the tenon, for the recess. So you see, I'm just sneaking in here. Brian's having to pick up this whole video bit because we can't get the GoPro close enough with that wing swinging around. Oh, that's sounding good there. Come in here again. I want a good hold on this since this thing is out around. I want to make sure nothing's going to slip on me. So I'm going to slide across here. Let's see what that looks like. Okay. Yeah, see, we have a nice deep tenon. Now we're running into one issue, and if Brian can swing around over here, thank you, sir. You can see I had to go this deep to get this in here. Now we have excess wood over here, so if I set this on the table, you're going to be looking up here and seeing a hole underneath there as you see the contour. So we're going to flatten this out. It's not going to hurt this look right here. It's going to leave that, but this will just give it a flat base to sit, and then where it's sitting, you won't see that underneath. So we're going to work on that a little bit, and then we'll be probably ready to sand what we've done and then turn it around. Crap, I got a catch and it came off the lathe. No, I just unscrewed everything. It's still attached. I just wanted to see how flat everything is, and it's looking really good. When you get to turning a wing out here like this, it's really tough to keep a straight line, and I did pretty good. So all I have to do is sand this, and then we'll turn this around and work on this side. I am just testing things out here a little bit because now that this is reversed, we have to start making some decisions on the shaping of this piece. So again, it's not a flat piece. I did the best I could, but I think my highest point is right about here, right? Well, then it goes down that low. You can see that. So what I might wind up doing is making my bowl and teardropping this down. We just won't know until I get this flattened out somewhat. But we do need a flat surface so we can do the laser part. So this is just patience and nibbling because I'm only going probably about a 200 RPM right now. You can't go any faster than that or you'll really shake the house. And with my shop, it'll come off the foundation. Okay, I've been working on the wing here, coming up to the bowl, and I have a bit of a ridge right there, so I want to flatten that out. So I'm going to take my finger to my tool rest and make a mark in the dust. That way, when I start this up, I have a reference point where I need to have my tool. Now this is scary when you're turning air, right? So I'm coming in with the tool turned off. You can see it's flat. So when I go in here, you're going to hear it hit. It's not cutting. Now I'm going to rotate the tool up to where it's now going to cut. My hand is like a depth gauge right here. So as I go in, as I slide to my right, the tool's not going to go in any deeper than I'm holding it right now because my hand's keeping the depth just right. Make sure you keep your arm back because you got a wing hanging out over there. And just slowly make your cut. And as I get to this lip here, I'm going to turn the tool off. And it stops cutting. I'm going to pull it and clean that edge right there. So, normally I hold my breath when I'm doing that, but I had to talk that time. That's looking really good. So what we're going to do next is we're going to start working on the bowl, and hopefully I can make a bead here. That's looking pretty good. I got a little bit of a dimple there, so I want to make one more pass here. But I stopped it because I'm looking at the aesthetics of the piece. And right now this lip kind of looks like a volcano. It's a little high. So I'll probably whittle that down a little bit. This is a cool thing about burls. Go buy one. Have some fun with one, because you too can make something for a loved one, or make a plaque if you want. If you don't have a laser, just make a really cool bowl, because these things are incredibly unique. Well, they're actually always unique. They're not the same. They're like snowflakes. And until you get into them, you don't know what you got. But the next thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and smooth this out one more pass, and then I'm going to work on this lip and try to make it a little more aesthetic. Because right now, it's a bit big. So I'm going to start my tool right here. Now I thin the lip down a little bit, and I'm just going to sweep this around and let the bevel do the work as it rubs on the wood. And if you have to start your cut over, just come back, go into it a little bit more. And just let the edge of the tool tell you where it's going. Here we're making our curve. And we want to be about 1/8 of an inch deeper to get rid of that nib. So now we're going to flatten out here. Open the tool up a little bit. Whoops, lost my cut. Come back here. When you get down here, it's fewer feet per second. And if you push hard, you're going to chip through the wood rather than cut it. So slow down and let it do the work. A little bit there. There we go. See? Now it's nice and smooth. You can see I made the lip a little bit narrower now, but I'm going to make it a little shorter too. So I'll work on this a bit and get that refined in a bit. This is looking really good. All we have to do is a bit of sanding, and then we're going to have some fun and do some lasering. I'm enjoying this project. Well, I mentioned I was going to turn on my fiber laser, and little did I know, fiber lasers are good for making campfires. They do not mark wood well. So you need a CO2 laser to mark the wood perfectly to make a nice mark that doesn't catch fire in your house. So that's why one of my favorite places right now, Fab Lab. Okie dokie, now after a bit of fussing and some help from Dan here at Fab Lab, I think we have things set up. What we wound up doing was we actually put masking tape on there, or a cover, and then did a really light test print to see if everything was going to work. And that glass is as shiny as my head. So then we're in the program over here, and we're going to be printing this. So we're going to hit print and see what happens. If it's too dark, I can't fix that. If it's too light, I can fix that by running another test. So when you're doing this on wood, just make sure you take your time and practice a lot. And on one-of-a-kind things like this, make sure you have all your settings right and everything's in exactly the right position. Okay, here we go. Oh, it's looking good already. I'm so happy. One little trick when you're doing something like this, I left the recess on the bottom of the piece just in case something went wrong. I could remount it, and then I could turn the face off again and get it towards fresh wood so I could do another print. So far it's working well. We'll just see if it's centered correctly. One thing to make note of here was that my photograph I made into a line drawing, and the first test I did, it came out really dark and didn't look right, so I had to go back in and edit out some of the texturing so it had more white area. And you have to be careful too, because the little dots in there, when I made a line drawing, there was gray between the dots. Well, the laser doesn't know any better, so it wants to try to print that. So I took out all that gray, and I think the face of Athena looks really good. I'm very happy with that. Okay. That's cool. We're going to see how it looks now. Well, it looks really good. Face came out well. A couple of the letters are a little light, but some are darker. I don't think I want to run it again because I'd risk making everything too dark then at that point. Okay, that's keeper. Now back to the shop. Okay, we're back in the shop, and I really like the way the laser etching turned out. One thing I ran into was, as you can see here on the lighter wood, it's softer. So it got darker on the outside of Athena's head. I wanted to make another pass to make this darker in here, but if I had, this would have charcoaled out and would have ruined it. So what I'm hoping is that the finish will brighten it up a little bit. And if push comes to shove, I can always touch it up with a little bit of paint or something like that. But right now, I think it's going to turn out okay. Now what we're going to be using is a lacquer, a spray lacquer, because I can control the thickness. If I used an oil or anything like that, it would soak into the wood. Well, that's not a bad thing, except if it soaks into here, it takes that black and starts to bleed, it'll mess up the image. The other thing is, if you look at this side, we have got a lot of crags and spaces in there. So I want to take this, and it's going to reach into every little bitty area. And wear breathing protection when you do this. I can't wear it right now because I'm talking at you. But I'm just going to do some light coats, and you can see how that darkens up really nice. I am using a satin. I do not want a gloss on this. I want a natural wood feel. So I can do that like so. Now this stuff dries relatively quickly, but I want to flip this and show you the other side and how that works out. So I'm going to take a couple blocks here and prop this up like so. There we go. And we're going to set this on here. And I'm going to make that bottom look better later. So there we go. That looks good. So now we're going to do really light coats. If I see any bleeding, I'm going to stop spraying and let it dry, or dab it with a paper towel to get the bleeding away from the rest of the wood. But here we go. See how this works out. Oh, it's looking really nice. I don't see any bleeding. It's a nice light coat there. That's probably the most I want to do right now. From the angle and the shadowing, you might not be able to see the details, but when I turn it this way, you can see that we're looking really pretty good there. So I'm going to put a couple more coats on here, and then we will have this laser burl, I don't know, plaque, commemorative thing for Les and Athena. Well, I hope you enjoyed this. Until the next time on Wood Turning, keep turning. Hey, on a personal note, I want to let you know that after we finished shooting our video, we found out from Les that Athena passed away. She was a phenomenal German Shepherd, and she's 14 years old, which is a ripe old age, good old lady there. And she was loved by all. Dooley was one of her best friends, and they played a lot. And I know some people might say it's just a dog, but some of us, though, you know, the dogs are our lives. So anyway, just wanted to let you know she passed away, and Les, we're all thinking of you, and we're so sorry for your loss.
Tim's American Beauty was made by Robust Tools, America's premier lathe manufacturer. Quality hardened tool rests and live centers too. Robust, built to turn wood, enjoyed for a lifetime.
Easy Wood Tools, best in class carbide wood turning tools.